I will now turn to Adam Klasfeld from Courthouse News.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I have a question. I was struck also by your speech's focus on Canadian Truth and Reconciliation Commissions. As a U.S. journalist, you might know that there have been truth and reconciliations on a local level in the United States, at Georgetown University in confronting its history of slavery, in Maine on the forced relocation of indigenous children, and elsewhere. And this topic has come up here in the wake of white supremacist violence in Charlottesville. My question to you, would you recommend, as many observers have, the vehicle of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to address the issues, the legacy of slavery and white supremacy that gave rise to what we saw in Charlottesville? And if so, how might Canada's lessons benefit the United States in confronting that legacy?
Part of my desire to share Canada's shame, but also the path that we are taking to address the mistakes we've made in the past, is to highlight that it can and should be done. It's not up to a foreign head of state to tell people how they should process their own challenges and mistakes, but certainly to share the approach that we've taken, one of recognition of past mistakes, one of listening and hearing the voices of people impacted, some for generations, and of working together thoughtfully on a path forward that gives equality of opportunity to all, that recognizes that everyone should be afforded a real and fair chance to succeed, that no one should be subject to discrimination based on their origins, their backgrounds, their religion, their language, their skin color, or whom they love. This is something that is universal and important, but I of course recognize that different countries will deal with it in different ways. I think my encouragement is that countries should look to examples where some have tackled these issues head on in a thoughtful and respectful way and come out the stronger and the better for it.
Just the follow-up on that one. And the second part of my question was, how would in particular, do you think, the Canadian example might reflect on the situation in Charlottesville?
I'm not an expert on American internal relations and the path forward. I think that's certainly something for Americans to reflect on and to struggle with, as America has led in many cases over the past century, whether it's the civil rights movement or the strong example of the American Bill of Rights. There are extraordinary things that the United States has grappled with and overcome in its past, but as my example today in regards Canada certainly highlighted, there's always much more work to do. And there is always an opportunity to reflect on that path forward in a respectful, thoughtful way that includes all voices and understands that the only way to move forward is together. What that looks like in any given country will be up to that country to determine. But I'm certainly happy to encourage people to reflect on a better future that we all can roll up our sleeves and work together on.